Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me and hit the like. Got another gas mileage video coming at you today with the 22 F350 with the 7.3 Godzilla, 373 rear gear, and the fifth wheel we're pulling today is 35 feet long and weighs roughly 12,000 pounds. Posted a gas mileage video a couple months ago, and we did speeds, 70 to 75 mile an hour. Had a few comments about the speed. Some people weren't happy we were towing that fast, but we did have a couple of people ask what kind of mileage we got if we drove slower. And actually, one guy requested a video be made of just that. So today, we're going to keep our speed between 60 and 65 mile an hour, no faster than 65. And we'll compare the gas mileage numbers on this trip to the trip we made previously this summer. Today we're going to be heading east over near Flint, Michigan to Holly State Recreation Area. It's a beautiful day to travel, so if you're interested in seeing the miles per gallon calculation here, towing this big fifth wheel at 60 to 65 mile an hour, stick around. So I thought I'd come out and do just a couple quick parameters here. Again, it's a 22 F350 with the 7.3 Godzilla, crew cab short box, 373 gear ratio. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, she's bone stock except for the valance. It's got the two-wheel drive valance underneath the front bumper, not the big four-wheel drive valance, so looks a little nicer. It does seem to affect the mileage slightly, running the truck empty, but I don't think it's going to matter with that big box behind us. And in the previous video, somebody asked me what fuel I was running. We are running 87 octane. So we are running 75 pounds of air in the rear tires, 60 pounds in the front, 80 pounds in the trailer tires. Again, this trailer weighs about 12,000 pounds. And as you can see, it's rather tall, so it's like pulling a brick through the air. So just to elaborate a little bit on that fuel quality there, on page 204 and 205, you can clearly see there it's calling for 87 octane. But over here, you'll see down at the bottom, that it does say for best overall vehicle and engine performance, premium fuel with an octane of 91 or higher is recommended. The performance gained by using premium is most noticeable in hot weather as well as other conditions, for example, when towing a trailer. So there you go. If you're interested, it's right there in your owner's manual. All right. We are just shy of 30 miles into our trip, about 27 miles in here. As you can see, our average is 7.7 miles a gallon currently, which is already probably just a skosh better than the last trip at the higher speeds. I am running cruise control at 63 miles an hour, and I've got it locked out 8, 9, and 10, so we're running 7th gear. The truck is able to climb pretty much any hill because we're running 2400 RPM. We're just tipped into the power, the torque curve on the 7.3, so it's adequate power to climb a hill. If I put it in 8th gear, it will stay until you hit just a little bit of an incline. You're going to be seeing about 2000 to 2100 RPMs in 8th, and that's not quite enough for it to maintain speed up a hill, so it'll drop to 6. So 7th gear seems to be the sweet spot for the most part with the 373 gear, especially running the slower speed like this. But I expect we'll probably see an average of around 8.5 miles a gallon by the time we reach our destination. So there is a little more of a benefit to running in 7th gear too. Notice the transmission temperature is only 214. If I put that into 8th gear here for a minute, so I just let it have 8th. See, there it goes. It shifted into 8th. Just roll here for a minute, 8th gear. Not changing our speed or anything. We're just going to see what happens to that trans temp. Well, there you go. It hasn't been that many miles. We've been in 8th gear and we're up to 221 degrees. So almost, I think when I first started it was like 212, maybe 214. So in a matter of less than 10 miles running 8th gear, we've jumped up almost 10 degrees in transmission temperatures. And there you go, just a few miles in 7th gear, and we're back down to 208. And we just climbed a little bit of a hill, so don't be afraid to use 7th gear. You can see we're doing 63, 2400 RPM. Like I said, you want to run 70, you can leave it in 7th. You'll be, with a 373 gear, you'll be doing about 2800. But 2800 is not bad. It's 2500 to 3000. These 7.3s make good power. They like it. They like it right there. It's making good power there, and it's where they like to work. So let your engine do a little work and save your transmission. Run 7th gear, run that 1-to-1, and stay out of those overdrives. You'll do it a favor. Now we're 62 miles into our trip here. Got about 25 miles to go. Currently looks like we're averaging just over 8 miles a gallon. So I have played around with this before, and I've towed in 8th and I've towed in 7th and compared, towing the same speeds, and I can honestly say I don't see much difference in miles per gallon between 7th and 8th. So I usually just run 7th unless I'm running a lot faster speed. I don't see any point in putting it in 8th and trying to run lower RPMs because you're just lugging the engine. And another thing to keep in mind is the 7.3 runs a variable pressure oil pump. So lower your RPMs, lower your oil pressure. So if you're going to be working it, work it. Get those RPMs up, build some oil pressure. Be better for your engine in the long run. All right, well, weekend's over and we're on our way home. We're going to roll home with the cruise set about 63 mile an hour, just like on our way over here. Currently average showing 7.7 miles a gallon, so 63 compared to 70, 75 on the last trip. Maybe half a mile a gallon difference, I guess. We'll see what the average is once we get home. Kind of expected it to be closer to 8, 8.5, but we'll see what it ends up being here. So we'll let you go for now, and we get home, we'll stop back by the gas station, fill it up, and see how she calculates. All right, we are home from our little trip this weekend. Just dropped the trailer off in the driveway, and I'm heading for the gas station to fill this thing back up. Currently, the computer is showing 8 miles a gallon. So we will see what the hand calculation turns out to look like. The way I've got my computer calculated on my truck, it tends to be doing a little bit, just slightly better on economy than what the computer will tell you it's doing. So we'll see if that holds true. It did hold true the last couple of fuel mileage videos I did, so I don't expect anything less. I did take a couple of pictures for you guys while I was driving. I'll put those up here in just a second, but just to show you kind of the difference between running an overdrive gear versus non-overdrive gear. And you'll notice that with the truck in 7th gear doing 63 miles an hour, the transmission temperature is lower by as much as 20 degrees actually. Not in most cases. Most cases it's within about 15 degrees, but I have seen as much as a 20 degree variance between 7th and 8th. 8th gear being your first overdrive gear. So if you're going to run 8th gear, you can expect to see higher transmission temperatures than 7th gear. Now, I'm not saying that 8th gear is going to ruin your transmission. I'm not saying it's too hot. Just stating a fact that on this trip, I took documentation of 7th gear transmission temperatures and 8th gear, and I will show you the pictures momentarily for proof to show you that it was running cooler temperatures in 7th gear. I've also on multiple trips now experimented with my miles per gallon calculator, and I've reset it going down the highway, and I've run 20, 30 miles in 7th gear, and then I've reset it and run 20, 30 miles in 8th gear. I don't see a big difference in mileage between 7 and 8 and 8th. Half of a mile per gallon at most. according to the computer anyway. I've never done, you know, like a full trip in 7th and then turn around and done that same full trip in 8th. But I've done enough playing around with it, towing and not towing, running different gears, that there's not a huge difference between 7 and 8th as far as economy. You'll notice higher RPMs, obviously, but if you're towing, that higher RPM is helping make you that power you need to be towing anyway. And I did mention earlier in this video, pretty sure the higher the RPM, the more oil pressure you're gonna see. So if you're worried about cam and lifter failure, you might want to think about that. Is it better to lug the engine and run, you know, a higher gear and try to squeeze an extra ounce of fuel out of it, or are you better off running 7th gear and using just a little more fuel but protecting your engine more? So, all right, we'll get out here and we'll get her filled up and we'll be back in a minute. All right, there you go. Let's go to trip 2. And there we have it, 197 miles. According to the computer, 8.0 miles per gallon. And we pumped in 23, I get that to focus for you, come on, 23.953 gallons. So let's go do the math. All right, well, there you have it, just as suspected. 197 divided by 23.953 comes out to 8.22, so just a hair better than the computer, just like I figured.